All right, so this is my SQL Workbench. Okay, when you open it up, you'll get this. And if you don't have it, you'll need to download it from the website. I forgot where, Oracle's website. So my SQL Workbench is broken up into two halves. Also, when you're downloading this, if you haven't done it yet, it may ask you to like register or something like that. You don't have to register. You don't have to register to get it. You can just like skip it or something, and you can just download it. Okay. So, anyways, this is my SQL Workbench. My SQL Workbench is broken into two halves. Okay, so there's sort of this top half. This top half is for managing the connections. Can you guys all see this? Yeah. Okay. I don't know if I can make it much bigger. Yeah, I can't make it much bigger. Okay. Well, the top half is for managing connections. The bottom half is for managing your entity relationship diagrams. Okay, so on the platform, you're going to have first the ERD part, and then you're going to have the SQL queries part. Okay, so I'm going to cover the ERD part first. This plus symbol here on the bottom, okay, will help you create a new entity relationship diagram. So if I were to hit plus here, it opens up this page. This just this different tab. Okay, I can then I then have this schema in place. Okay, and I can add a diagram. Okay, so this is my sort of my what we call it, your screen for making your diagram. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rename my database because I don't want to call it MyDB, because every time you make a new one, it's going to get called MyDB. You want to differentiate them. So you can, I think, double click it, change the schema name. Okay, and again, this is the name of your database, right? So I'm going to make this class demo. Okay, so now this also changes. It says class demo now, and that means that that's the new name of our database. Okay, so now I'm going to construct the entity relationship diagram. So you can click on this button here, okay, and drop it here, and this will create a table. Okay, so double click this. I can change the name of my table. So I'm going to create a users table. Okay, if I go to this column here, I can specify the columns that are going to be in my table. So I can set ID, which is my user ID. And generally, the default is that within the table, the primary key is just called ID instead of calling it user ID. Okay. I could also set some defaults about this. This is going to be my primary key, so I'm going to click this box. It's going to be not null, meaning I shouldn't have any row that has a null ID, right? Every row should have an ID. And then this AI stands for auto increment. Okay, so that means it's going to automatically increment the value as I create new entries. Okay, so I have that, and then I can create my first name. Varchar means it's for a string. Int means it's for an integer. Your ID is going to be a number. The first name is going to be a string. Okay, and I can also add an email as well. Okay, so this is my first table. Okay, now if I want to add a second table, I can say do this. I can call this one, say, my posts. I can also give it an ID, set it as auto increment, give it some content, also a text field, and then here's my other table. Okay. Now for the foreign key, I want to build this relationship between these two, and I want to make sure that foreign key shows up in this posts column. I can grab this icon here with the line in that little fork, and then I can go like, is it this way? No, the other way around. Put this one first. Okay, and so you'll see that there's this little fork thing at the end, right? And you'll also see that the user ID shows up here as the foreign key, and I'm going to call it user ID. Okay, so that's basically how you generate the ERD diagram. You could also, I'm going to just do this too to show you what it might look like. If I had like a profile column, profiles, okay, I might just have, let's say, I don't know, let's say I had, let's say I had like some sort of content, like description about myself, okay? I may only have one profile for every user object, so I could also build this one-to-one relationship, okay? Can anyone think about why I would or would not want a one-to-one relationship? Like, does a one-to-one relationship make much sense to you guys? Like, what would be another way of doing this? Yeah, you add the user. Yeah. So like, whenever you have a one-to-one relationship, right, there's only going to be one row that matches with the user. So I could just put this description directly in my users table, right, and save myself from having another table. Okay. I can't do that with posts, right, because for one user, I have many posts. I can't fit all of them on the same row that I have for my user, right? But I could fit all the descriptions here. Okay. Can anyone think of why I might still want to make a one-to-one relationship? Smaller, yeah. So it's, while we can lump it together, right? If my profile gets really big, let's say I have a lot of columns for it, right? Then every time I grab a user row, if I grab the entire row, I'm grabbing a lot more data. Whereas if I keep the user one like smaller, let's say because I need to use the users table for posts and for a lot of other things, and I need to fetch that data quite often, I may not always want to grab all that profile information. So it's a way to separate it out if you start getting like really big tables. Okay, but I will say in general, unless you start having a lot of data, I don't see one-to-one relationships very often. Okay, it's only really when you have a ton of data on one table for some reason. Yeah. Otherwise, it's simpler to just combine it all together into one table. Okay. Let's see. Do I have anything else I want to go for this? Oh, I got forward here. Okay. All right. So after you build this, let me grab my phone too. Okay. After you have done this, you can forward engineer it. So forward engineering, this is only like a diagram of your database, right? This doesn't mean you actually have your database in place yet. So after you do this, you can do what's called forward engineering. You go to database, you click forward engineer. Okay, and this is going to basically create the database table for you. Okay, so I have to set my connections. I already have a connection in place, so I specify I want to tie this to that specific connection, and I can also specify the port that my SQL server is going to be running on. I hit continue, continue, I get this error. Error can connect to database. Error connecting to database. Can't connect to my SQL server on 127.0.0.1. Does anyone have any idea why this error might pop up? That's a good idea, but that's not why. Yeah, my MAMP. I'm not running MAMP yet. Okay, so I need to turn it on. Okay. So now I've launched MAMP, and I need to start the server. Okay, and to the port part, here are all your ports. My SQL port is 8889, which is, I think, the same thing I had specified earlier in the settings, but that's the right idea. If you had the wrong port, it would probably be the same error message. Okay? And then I need to start my server. Okay? And this is because, once again, MySQL Workbench is just trying to connect to that database, right? It's not itself a database. You'll get this launched, ignore that. And now, since it's running, I can try to continue again. Okay. So it's going to create all this code. There's all this SQL code. Okay. So this is SQL code for creating the tables. If you were to copy paste this directly into MySQL Workbench, or like in the SQL interface, or if you just like used your terminal and connected directly to SQL application, you could create your tables using this. Okay, but it's kind of a lot of code to like write yourself. Okay, so MySQL Workbench just makes it easier for you because you can create the ERD, and then it generates this for you. Okay, and then after you have this, you hit continue, and then I'm just letting it run it for me as well. Okay, so now I've connected to the database. I've executed that script, which is that SQL, that big long list of SQL commands we just saw, and then it's done some other things, read back changes, saved synchronization state, and then it's finished forward engineering. Okay, so now I have my database in place. So I'm going to close this tab. I'm going to go back to my home page, if I go to my connections, right, and you guys will have to set up a connection with this plus symbol if you don't already have one, but your connection will look something like this, right? It says right here that I'm connecting on port 8889, which is the same port that my MAMP SQL server is running on, right? And you're going to have in MAMP, you're going to have a different port for whatever different applications it's running, okay? So then I can connect. Okay, when you're connecting, it may ask you for like a password for your database. By default, your MySQL password is root. So if you just use that, you should be able to connect. All right, so now if I look here, I can write a command. So let's say I was to run select star from users. Okay, and I was to try, I can type that into here, that command, which is a query. This is the query for basically grabbing all the users in the table. Okay, I can hit this lightning bolt symbol, and that'll try to run it. If I run it, I get this X symbol. It says select star from users limit 0 1000, and it says error code 1146 table full underscored friends db.users doesn't exist. What do you guys think that means? There's no users. What does full underscore friends db.users mean? I'm in the wrong database. Yeah. So it is pulling it from a specific database, right? Because remember, this connection for MySQL, right? It works for a whole bunch of different databases, right? But we just created a specific database called class demo, and it's looking at full underscore friends DB, right? Which is one of your assignments, but it doesn't have a users table, okay? Or I haven't added it to it. So it's not going to be able to find it. What I need to do is I need to point to this class demo database schema, okay? So the way to do that is, you can take the hint from here. It says full underscore friends db.users. You say class underscore demo dot users. Okay, so if I run this, it'll do a query. Okay, so that's why this pops up. You get this little green checkbox. It's returning all of my users. Now I don't have any data, so that's why this table is like empty, right? It just says ID, first name, email, profiles ID, right? But it doesn't actually have any of that information. But I was able to connect to that right link. Okay, so you just gotta make sure you're always pointing to the right database when you're writing your queries. The other option, if you don't want to write class underscore demo.users, is you can set this database. You see this in the schema list, class underscore demo is at the top. That's the new one we created. This is there because we ran that forward engineering step. If we hadn't run it, it wouldn't be here. You can right click it, or I think you can right click it. Info it? There we go, right click, okay. Set as default schema, okay? So if I set this as my default schema, then that will be the one it by default looks to if you don't specify which database it's running on. So now if I were to run it again, it still works. Okay, so you have those two options. You specify specifically which database you want to point to, or you set which one you want to set as your default, and that way you're working off that one. Okay, that's everything. You guys have any questions?